Smart guy and what the league was thinking. And Joy Taylor is joining me. Last night was fun. I did a show with Carissa Thompson and Mark Schlereth and Jason McIntyre. It's so easy to do TV now. I'm doing it in a radio studio. I can do it in golf shorts last night. It's a fun day for us. I love today's show.
It is. You're getting spoiled, huh?
I am.
I'm not going to lie. I have secretly done the show a couple times this week in my Tommy John loungewear.
Yeah. Why not? It's the future of what we're dealing with. I read a story last night about how American business and how people are now going to work from home. I don't think it's a terrible thing, by the way. It will reduce traffic issues. It'll save people money in America, which will be a big thing going forward. But let's start NFL schedule. And I've said before, I'm never going to look at a good team and a tough schedule and go, they're done, or a bad team and an easy schedule and go, oh, they'll be a playoff team. But I do every year look at the schedule and I modify and alter my win-loss total. That's why yesterday I gave out my NFL standings pre-schedule. And this morning, there's 4 or 5 teams, one in particular. I'm going to add 2 wins to one team and subtract 2 from another team because I felt the schedules were that advantageous. So let me just start with 2 teams that I think got the raw end of the deal with the schedule. And I didn't love this team anyway, Cincinnati, but they got no breaks. No OTAs, young coach, rookie quarterback, forced to play, a dubious offensive line, and the Cincinnati Bengals have to face 6 of the top 7 pass rushes with a rookie quarterback and a truncated camp. Chargers, Browns, at Cleveland, at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, at Indy, and Browns again. So of the 6 of the 7 tough games, 4 are on the road. At Cleveland, at Philly, at Baltimore, at Indy, that's got now DeForest Buckner. Brutal. And then the end of the season, they face 3 teams that'll probably be vying for playoff spots. The Steelers, the Texans, and the Ravens. Little softer in the middle, but this is an overwhelming schedule. They got one give me early, Jacksonville. They didn't get Miami when they could use them. They didn't get the Giants or Washington. They buried those. The team will already be buried. This is a bad break for a team that's going to start a rookie quarterback, and we're dealing with a virus, and we don't know how much prep time he'll get. And, it's funny about this because, it's just tough division. Rookie's got to start. Brutal schedule. Young head coach. Brutal. And Bengal fans, I'm a hater because I had them at 5-11. Fox Bet has them favored in 1 game this year. So if it stays true to form, they're 1-15. I don't think they're that bad, but I literally looked at that schedule, and I reduced the number of wins. I had Cincinnati at 5-11, got a ton of negative feedback on that, like I was delusional. They haven't won a playoff game since 91. The team they beat no longer exists, the Houston Oilers. So to me, I would put them now at 3 or 4 wins. We'll talk about that top of next hour when I redo my standings. Here's another team. So you think, I just hate Joe Burrow. Here's another team. I'm going to downgrade wins. Sam Darnold, I love him. New York Jets. Brutal. So here's a team that's rebuilding their offensive line through the draft and free agency. Look at the Jets' first 7 weeks. Bills defense, Niners pass rush, Colts pass rush, Denver, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Chargers pass rush, Buffalo again. Oh, they get a break then. They get to go to Kansas City. That is, to me, the toughest schedule in the NFL. It lightens up later, but for a team that is, they don't even know their tackles yet. A rookie left tackle, a second-year right tackle, maybe, a brand-new center. This is not the way the New York Jets needed the schedule to work out. So the Bengals, I'll reduce some wins. Jets, I may reduce them 2 wins. Top of the hour, I'll talk about the new schedule. I've changed it up. We'll get to it in 45 minutes. Now, on the opposite end, these are teams I liked, and I don't know if it makes me think they'll win more, but it confirms the fears I had about my prediction. So, take San Francisco 49ers. Scheduling break. Now, I got them winning, 11 games anyway. But Super Bowl losing teams, Joy and I, we've talked about this before, there can be a little bit of a hangover, especially like Atlanta. When you lose a Super Bowl that you should have won and you lose a lead and everybody questions your moxie and you come out the next year flat. That's what Atlanta did. San Francisco, I worry about that, but they got a scheduling break. So the first 3 teams they play are all rebuilding their offensive lines. Arizona, the Jets, and the Giants. With San Francisco's defensive front being the strength of the team, they even drafted another defensive lineman in the first round. That's a break. That is a break. That you could not play well and just simply overwhelm young, auditioning offensive lines. Then after that, they get 3 straight home games. Philly, Miami, Rams, all at home. So they get weaker teams, got to travel for a couple. The tougher games they get at home, rebuilding offensive lines, rebuilding teams, young head coaches, new staffs, young quarterbacks. I don't know if it makes me think San Francisco wins more games, but it reassures me on little concerns I had about San Francisco having a Super Bowl hangover. Here is a second team. Again, I have Cleveland winning 9 games and becoming a playoff team. I wanted to see the schedule to reaffirm, because I thought it could fall 2 different ways. I liked the way it fell for Cleveland. So at Baltimore, sucks as an opener. There's no getting around that. That is a tough opener. But after that, Cleveland gets the opposite of last year. They get an early scheduling break. Cincinnati, Washington at home, 2 rebuilding rosters. Cleveland's not a rebuilding roster. Then after that, for the next 6 or so weeks, they get really average defensive teams as they break in new tackles, a new coach and a new system, a new tight end. Dallas defense, Cincinnati defense, Raider defense, Texans defense, and then there's a bye in there. So unlike last year, where they went through a 5 or a 6 week stretch early in the season last year, 5 out of 6 weeks where they faced like elite defensive coordinators, elite coaches, elite pass rushes. This schedule, they get to face a couple of rebuilding teams early and then softer defenses. You know, Dallas doesn't have an elite pass rush. Cincinnati's pretty good on the interior of the defensive line, but they had to go up, bring in new players defensively because they were lousy last year. Raiders can't stop anybody. Houston's got all sorts of secondary issues. So, again, I thought for Cleveland, it confirms what I believe a week ago, which is if the schedule falls right, Baker's going to tighten it up. This is a playoff team. So, Bengals, Jets, I'm subtracting wins. Niners, Browns, I don't necessarily think they get additional wins, but they got a scheduling break. It kind of falls in their favor. Because I do think with Cleveland, when you have a new coach, you come off a rough year, it's easy for people to bail. You know, you go 0-4 again this year, you're going to get, OBJ, don't kid yourself. You can lose guys in the locker room fast. So I thought Cleveland and San Francisco got breaks. It's good to have you now. Top of next hour, Dave Wanstad will stop by to talk about some thoughts Jim Harbaugh had about college football. Plus, as a former Bear and Dolphin head coach, do you look at the schedules with your personnel? Do you get some breaks? And, Andy Reid was funny yesterday. I mean, Kansas City's going to win a bunch of games. I don't worry about them. But I thought Kansas City got a little bit of a break, and Andy picked up on it immediately. They play the Florida teams later in the year, so it's not a sauna. And they have a very good vertical passing game in Kansas City. They play a lot of the cold weather teams early, like at Buffalo, at Baltimore early, at Denver early, where instead of a 30-mile-an-hour wind and snow and low visibility, it could be warm and sunny in Denver, Buffalo in September, early October. So I do believe, Andy Reid talked about it yesterday, I do believe there are scheduling breaks. Maybe this, to me, I swear to God, Tom Brady's got an angel on his shoulder because I thought Tampa got multiple breaks in their schedule. Multiple breaks in their schedule. We'll talk about that coming up. Over 50 years ago, 2 men with passion for motorsports and engineering. They started building race car engines. Didn't have space, so they found an old abandoned mill. That's how all great stories start. In an old abandoned mill. They saw opportunities on every curve, an invitation, a chance to push the envelope, break the rules. They wanted to create They wanted to create race car engines